highlight something that we actually casted quite a bit, Avery, but it's been a while since they've done this. You got to go back a patch.
Got to go back to Southeast Asia DPC,
Mm-hmm.
which is where this got popularized. That region loves the offlane Coddle. At least they did, until they started losing with it.
Yeah, and one thing that Jenkins was on the money, every single time that they do pick Coddle, it's typically because this hero is going to rush a Vessel. And back then, it was picked up all the time against Death Prophet. Death Prophet fell off, so did the Coddle. And apparently we're back in it, though, because Leshrac, Bloodseeker, a lot of good Vessel targets here.
You might go Vessel. I could also just see him going like fast mech pipe type build, too, if he just wants to play defensive and stall the game for the Juggernaut late game timings, which we've seen time and time again. This Juggernaut does not lose late game easily. So if you're Talon, you really wanted a hero that stalled up the game. I think that is the greatest thing Coddle's going to give you here. And he can play around the Pango. Like, the Chakra Magic Pangolier with Fast Diffusal is going to help Makoto really skirmish this game because that Bloodseeker matchup's tough. I think you used to be able to itemize it with Lincolns and Lotus Spheres and stuff, but now it's pretty much inevitable you're going to get Ruptured because you can just throw anything into the Rolling Thunder.
A lot of heals do sound good against Bloodseeker. I'll agree with that. And Jabs, of course, a very selfless offlaner. In fact, he's quoted in interviews in saying that he builds whatever his team needs. So, of course, Mech is a strong option for him.
That's a nice way of saying he builds whatever he wants.
Yes, which is why I think he's going to build Vessel, despite the fact that I think Mech is probably a better option.
Started 3 casually top just to secure the first wave, too. Pretty interesting. They'll TP Ollie bottom. So 23 not losing out too much here. They guarantee the first wave for Jabs, and they're going to pull the second one. Really trying to dodge this Undying early on, which if you can ever accomplish that is nice, because this hero thrives in the level like 1 to 3. Especially with level 2 Tombstone kill we've seen be almost guaranteed versus a lot of these melee lanes. Versus the Coddle, it should be harder here. So I expect the Silence for Talon to mostly free farm. They can get through the early waves. And then it's just about getting as much farm as you can going into that mid game.
I'm not even going to think about the outcome of what they're doing. I already like what Talon is pulling off because it shows me that they had a game plan coming into this, and they specifically game planned and strategized for the laning phase, which I think is where you need to beat Gaming Gladiators, right?
Yeah, even if you do a couple little things that even it out or give you an edge, then you're just, okay, then a couple things can go wrong for you and you're still good.
Yeah.
Sometimes that helps. So that is one of the things that can help you versus these very lane dominant teams, especially when you're playing the later timing lineup, which I think they are on, as Gaming are almost always ready to ball up very fast, very early. The Ace Underlord has a very high win rate for a reason. It's probably Gaming's best strat is just balling up behind the Underlord with the auras, with the sustain, and just pushing into that 30-minute mark.
And
that is what you have to prepare for.
Lane dominant hero as well, right?
Yeah, Ace is very comfortable on it.
He gets a lot of last hits, and those last hits kind of snowball because you're getting more and more damage off the Atrophy aura.
It's also ended up being this Rubik Underlord, which is something we saw them first phasing in Berlin, and was a pretty popular strategy at that major. Just confident enough to take it in the first phase. They got it here kind of in the second combination. It's a lot of base damage reduction in the Fade Bolt and the Atrophy Aura. You're looking at a hero in Juggernaut that has to eventually carry this game with his base damage, being effective in the Omni Slashes and all of that. Cannot underestimate an over 70% reduction.
Yeah, it's 65% if you put it together, and then you can get the 10 talent for an extra 12. And there's a talent for Underlord as well. Another 15%.
The more I watch Rubik, I feel like that was one of the reasons his win rate was as good as it was. Just people underestimating how effective Fade Bolt was in a lot of these battles. Like, especially versus heroes like Medusa that rely entirely on their base damage to deal AoE of effect damage. That gets reduced, you just take half the net worth out of the fight. That feels great for a random support spell that you don't have to throw in anything else because it's just a nuke.
Now, another Gaming Gladiator specialty. Because they win lane so well, I do think that their Bloodseeker always does shine decently well, right? And we're already seeing that as all of these heroes are getting a bit low every once in a while, and Durachu is cruising around.
Again, Talon are dodging this lane, and this might be a second kill for Jabs.
Nice bash. Celery, he's not going to be able to walk that one off. These heroes are too fast.
And level 2 blast. That is 2 kills on the board for this Coddle lane. Very happy with that going into Undying Bloodseeker, that you can come out with kills and extra XP while the Coddle continues to just blast in the waves, get a lot of CS here as well. So last pick Coddle's working out.
Yes, and he is indeed building an urn. Of course, Jabs, of course.
It's a good Vessel game. I don't think there's anything wrong with this build.
Sure.
You just have to pick, do you want the earlier ores up for the 5-man, or do you want the Vessel that's going to be better in the single target and the skirmish situation? It's also fine in the 5-on-5. But sustain is going to be really important, valuable here for Talon. Healing Ward, Coddle Blast, any of the mech grease pipe they can get up, because if you look at this gaming lineup, at some point they're going to push into you. If you can defend your objectives, hold your ground, maybe secure Roche at some point, there's not a lot of damage that actually comes out that isn't poke.
Yeah.
Underlord Rubik want to poke you. The Undying throws down a tomb, but he's not doing damage. So what is activating Dyrachyo in these engagements if it's not Quinn just going in and shredding people with ult?
Can they kill him? It's going to be a close call. If they get a bash, certainly, but they don't get that bash, and Quinn walks it off. Barely able to get away. Low health, and again, without a bash hit from Q.
Saves that.
Oh, Ollie was cutting in.
That
was
was
a little bit too late. Man, that would have been huge.
Might even wait around. I can see Talon going back on Quinn when he TP's back in the lane. This is a heavy rotation from Ollie here, leaving 23 alone versus an Underlord. Just kind of sucks. You get out CS, there's nothing you can do about it.
At the same time, is he really impacting this lane too much, though?
No. That's why I was thinking if they would just stay mid, because Makoto will hit 6 pretty soon here, and you have an opportunity to just Rolling Thunder this Leshrac down.
Now he's going to show up now, and maybe it is a good timing for him because the Undying cuts in from behind, but no defensive capabilities from Ollie can stop the 3-man dive under tower.
Nice little rotation from Seller. He was not doing much top, and when you're not doing much in a lane as Undying, it's time to move. This hero does not really do anything else unless he's hitting heroes and dropping tombstones.
Ollie really trying to pull the creep wave off the tower here. And they're going to chase him away, make sure he can't do too much more damage to their push.
Won't be able to defend the catapult though, so it's not the worst outcome for Talon here, considering the Juggernaut was having a pretty bad lane anyway.
Go for the Rolling Thunder, but the rotation was already out from Dyrachyo. Boy, they read that one like a book.
Quinn just calling for it. He has a regen rune anyway, so he's going to go back to full. They got his courier on top of it. Nice rotation from Dyrachyo in gaming's early game. Proving to be very strong as usual. You're going to have to overcome this hill if you're Talon, but I guess that is a hill they are used to climbing, as I feel like all of their games end up going very late. But I feel like a lot of those games also get to that point because Makoto wins mid and installs the game up by running around, making space, getting big core pickoffs.
Yep.
I don't see him doing that this game. I don't see the kill threat existing from this Pango until his defusal timing. Then you're going to have it for a little bit, but that rupture is just always going to be waiting for you. So I don't know. This one might be a rougher game for Talon than they're used to. We'll see if they can still get in that mid-late game where they shine. Get that Juggernaut online. To me, that comes down maybe more pressure on Jabs this game.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Jab's going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting if Makoto doesn't win his lane and is heavily countered, right? I mean, this is going to be a constant problem playing against the Bloodseeker.
Just have to take defensive fights. And if you're gaming, you have to recognize the Talon want to do that and not get caught in overextensions. Nice little solar bind into the kill here. These are the types of pickoffs Talon won the entire game. Like, if they can keep finding these random core kills, don't let gaming group up. Their single target burst is insane between the Breaker and the Skywrath Mage.
Yeah, that's a good point. So got to get these supports to level 6 as quick as possible. Getting these early kills help boost that experience quite a bit.
And this is still a Spear Breaker that, I mean, we haven't seen Spear Breaker a lot in the last few days, but this was a hero that was dominating the patch.
Yep.
Still the same hero. So you have to respect what he can do in the fights. I mean, I guess he got nerfed a little bit.
What did he get nerfed? I don't remember.
They nerfed his cooldowns on charge by a second on both the Ags and the non-Ags. But otherwise, he's basically the same.
Okay. And base armor decreased by 1. A classic.
That does hurt. And the tower defense already called for. So Makoto will play defensive here versus the Quinn. Leshrac, a very comfortable hero for him, as we all know.
I wonder if they thought they were going to go for a charge here. Instead, they're just going to have to content themselves with a kill on Tofu. Maybe, not even that much. And now Makoto's going to be ruptured. In fact, they even have Ace gating his way into this mid tower to ensure the team fight goes their way. And, well, I don't know about the mid tower. Quinn can't immediately dive that one or anything.
Talon cannot go too aggressive in these exchanges. They have to play on the towers, respect the Bloodseeker teleport, especially for their Pango.
Nice telekinesis toss back. That was beautiful.
Yeah, that's a vessel charge down for jabs.
Yeah,
They get this very fast. This is where you want to make it work. But the defensive capability, when you go in versus the Tombstone, versus the Gate, versus the Rupture turnaround. Again, I just don't see the playmaking potential for Makoto in this early game. I think you have to play it a bit slower here. Farm up, let gaming come into you. I mean, create a situation where the Juggernaut can join the fight instead of Dyrachyo. Then I think you're going to be happy. Like, it's a good healing ward game. Sure, you can rupture the Pango, but you can also just sit there under healing ward and Coddle Blasting him up at Blinding Light. It's not that easy for gaming to commit it on him if he's high HP. When he's rolling into you, that's a different story.
Yeah, certainly. Three cores, top net worth for Gaming Gladiators. 3,000 net worth lead as a result, and Talon still struggling to be able to get these pickoffs that they were kind of looking around for. Not able to kill Quinn, twice now failing to kill Tofu. A large part of that has to be the fact that they did not have 6 on the Skywrath Mage or the Spirit Breaker. Finally, we have Mystic Flare, but still no Spirit Breaker ult. Nether Strike.
Did stabilize the map a little bit, like keeping their tier 1 mid up, pretty valuable here. I think Gaming would have liked to have been able to win a fight and commit for that, but they never really got that connection, and 3 points already up in Edict for Quinn. He's looking for the kills, he's also looking for the tower follow-ups off a fast Bloodstone rush here. He's gonna have it soon. It's gonna be go time. You're pretty much only worried about the Coddle in these situations. He's gonna be able to kite the fight out. Very hard for Gaming to get on top of him. If that ever happens, it's a death sentence for Talon in the fight. But as long as Jabs plays the outskirts, kites him around, has ult up for the engagements, it should be pretty difficult to get on top of him. And that's your big tower defense. So it's a game of how much does Quinn want to push it?
Well, he's going to be
the limit.
Pushing this tower as Talon are looking to trade. They obviously don't kill the tower nearly as fast.
No.
So there is a chance for Gaming Gladiators to defend because they have the Underlord.
They might opt to here. I also think Gaming don't necessarily care about their turns as much as getting Talons down.
Sure.
And then just occupying the aggressive space here. And again, I think Talon would really like to take these tower defense fights. That's where their lineup kind of shines. But not feeling strong enough to do so.
I think the safe lane tower is always the hardest one, right? It's so
pretty difficult.
Open, it's very easy for the enemy to get around and behind you.
Like, unless you're already there, you have to be there when the enemy heroes walk up and start hitting your tower initially.
Yeah.
If you're set up at that point in time, you can take the fight. But if you're TPing in once they're already hitting your tower and they're getting in your trees behind the tier 1, it gets very awkward very fast.
Now, the mid tower, I do think they should defend, but Leshrac has a really good way of just being able to poke the tower down with low commitment.
Yeah, this is too hard to stop, I think. I mean, you wish you could. I think you really want to if you're Talon. They're going to smoke here. So they are kind of setting up. Might be able to go on Quinn on the next Edict attempt and burst him.
This is the part I don't like about Radiant, though. You're playing into you're on the low ground as the tower defenders. Very weird situation.
It does kind of suck, yeah. No, there's just no defense there. They're also missing their stun in that little smoke, which is the breaker. No real other setup here outside of just mass slows off the Solar Bind concussive.
Well, this is a bit of a bold move. I assume they know that Juggernaut's around here. They're gonna try and telekinesis split Earth him.
No, this is not a kill.
Yeah, I don't think so either. The charge is coming in. 23 can maybe kite this around and then go back in.
Quinn's pretty damn tanky, and Tofu has spin. They're gonna try.
Omni Slash, telekinesis stops the charge, but they
Roshan
to stay on top of him. Claps in, goes. Oh no, the spin! He got him bounced back with the Nether Strike, and that means that Quinn is gonna be okay.
Very nice steals from Tofu here.
Yeah, that was a beauty.
And he even got him at the end.
Him.
Whew.
Ollie on the run, TP, one swipe, not enough.
You wish you had a little more damage going into Atlas Shrek there. That would have been a monster snipe with the Omni Slash in the open ground. I mean, even Roshan helped you out with the clap. But Tofu, ready to fight back. Stole another strike, creates the space. That is a great steal in this game. A lot of damage on that spell. Pretty low cooldown now, too. You gotta remember, it's 70 seconds level 1. So we're gonna get another nether strike at some point here. And just another fight where Jabs is not involved.
Yep.
Like, Talon really want the Coddle in all of these little skirmishes. Bots will help him be there. But that one just got dragged to the corner of the map. Weird positioning. 7K gold lead already for gaming out of nowhere. All 3 cores pulling ahead. And we are finishing Diffusal for Makoto. That is probably the biggest item for Talon in this early game outside of the Vessel on the Coddle. We'll see if they can make something happen with it. But based on how Diracho just comes in every fight and ruptures him, again, I'm concerned for how much Makoto can commit in these engagements. You can play with double swashbuckle off the sides of the fight, which I think is what they're going to have to do here. Combine the Coddle and the Pango, look for random supports in open areas and just double swash them down.
It does sound like a sick way to be able to poke at the Leshrac and burn down his mana. Unfortunately, Leshrac is super farmed in this game. You're going to blow up Celery here. Finally, the first Mystic Flare put to use to get a kill.
Nice little find.
Something small to work with, and it is. These kills are worth a lot more gold than they normally are. Jabs stand and fight and die to Diracho.
That's a tough death. That is not a solo death you want to give up here for your Jab, especially with ult off cooldown. He just has no points in Blinding Light. Headset battery.
Apparently a very fast fix. That always feels so good when there's 3 of them. Just instantly combined to make a greater.
Know what feels even better?
What's that?
When there's 6 of them.
Dang. It does sound nice. Battle Fury's done for the Juggernaut, so we are getting our key items. It's just perhaps a bit late.
It's a pretty slow Battle Fury here.
Yeah.
His lane was very tough, though.
Oh, Nether struck, but they do have a charge out from the high ground. Telekinesis trying to catch Makoto, and he will die before he can get the Rolling Thunder off. Now, gaming Gladiators with that pickoff, not sure what they're going to do. Don't think they can really hit a tower. No need to.
Just gonna farm. Keep on farming until you have some dispels, some spell immunity potentially, and then you're not afraid of these silences and slows from the Talon lineup. And they're gonna have real problems sticking on these cores and bursting them because they don't have that much AoE. They have to go on core targets, take them down to get a fight advantage here. That means getting everybody involved in a single burst situation. If you have sustain, you have utility and dispel from the gaming side. It's looking real tough. Especially with 0 vessel charges on Jabs right now. This man, I hate to say it, but he needs to die.
Yeah, because I don't think they're going to find that easy pickoff without the vessel charges.
Jabs, it's time to shine.
Go, Jabs, go!
The one time you need him to die, he doesn't. Damn it, Jabs. Your team needs your sacrifice.
Oh, see, we were talking about that yesterday. NA needs to build more Spirit Vessels. Oh, Diracho's actually a little bit alone here. Can they burst him down? They got the Juggernaut TPing in even, blast him back in. A big kill.
Oh, there's the Diracho death for the game.
Yep, that happens.
Just lingered way too long on this high ground obs. I mean, they have a deep dire ward, so he probably felt pretty protected, but he was closing in on Manta. Manta maybe lets you live with the Dispel. Does not have it yet. And there's the charges for Jabs. Back on the board with 2.
Yep.
Unlocks some more aggressive potential here.
Shit, I thought they were going to have to get some sort of pick off on a support hero. Mystic flare them down in order to get those charges. They get something so much better. Kills the enemy carry.
Long death timer, and we're pushing towards Shadowblade for Q. He was closing in on Manta. Manta maybe lets you live with the Dispel. Does not have it yet. And there's the charges for Jabs. Back on the board with 2.
Yep.
Unlocks some more aggressive potential here.
Shit, I thought they were going to have to get some sort of pick off on a support hero. Mystic flare them down in order to get those charges. They get something so much better. Kills the enemy carry.
Long death timer, and we're pushing towards Shadowblade for Q. It's going to help with the pickoffs more. My issue with the Shadowblade here is I feel like it's going to come out at a time when gaming are just going to 5-man. So I don't know how much value you're going to get out of it. I mean, it's always decent damage. You can go in the fight, invis, kite it out, get another charge.
Yeah, I mean, I think a decent part of the Shadowblade pickup is honestly just being able to burst down creep waves.
It does help stall the map. That is absolutely true, but you do lose some like Glimmer Cape potential or just a drum.
Oh, turn around, Nether strike him instantly, grab him, stop at the shield crash.
Man.
How many times is Tofu gonna beat down Makoto?
You need to stop giving this man Nether strike at this point. It's just a better space cow.
Well, we definitely see something learning about Makoto here. Just the fact that, I mean, when he has a rough laning phase, I don't think he accurately judges his strength, right? They keep on trying to kill Tofu. And sure, like 90% of scenarios, that's a freebie in most games. But this one, you're so far behind. That is not a fast kill. You're not going to be able to just burst him down with 2 spells.
I don't think he's really been set up for success in this game, though, either.
Yeah.
The lane matchup's hard. He was a first phase Pango. They got instantly Bloodseekered and counterpicked. He has to play into Lift, into Pit, into a bunch of Sustain. It's a very, very tough Pango game.
No charge. He has a Lotus, but no point in popping it, really. He'll die either way.
It's just buying time for old Juggernaut to come online. You are losing gold every minute. 10k gold lead. Jab's trying his best to split push, but Ace can just meet him everywhere and have the gate up. He is building up the ores. Greaves and Pipe already done. What does he want next? Anything. And another Rupture onto Jabs. He's dead again.
And Makoto's dead again.
These Talon cores cannot find any space on the map. Dyrachyo, that's his second basically solo pickoff on the Coddle. Just not a kill that could be happening.
We got him.
That's a gem.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, that's a big pickoff in the river.
Oh, no wonder he's found the river ward. I was like, dang.
He's smacking so hard.
Almost 3-shot him.
Oh, a little bit of a net worth swing there. Get a gem out of Gaming's hands. They can't deward all of your split push obs on the map.
It's a little bit concerning, though, that it still went to 13k despite getting the gem.
Yes.
Oh, hey, bounty rules. Bloodstone, BKB. I mean, you're not touching him. You're not touching that Quinn Leshrac for a long time once he completes BKB. Then you're entirely reliant on Juggernaut's damage.
Just need massive Omni Slashes in this game. No way around it. 23 is going to have to deliver in these fights. Deliver big time.
Man, a relaxing game for Gaming Gladiators.
It really is. I feel like this is a team that's starting to basically show exactly what they want to do every game, right? If at this point you don't understand what they're playing for, what their timings are, how they're going to orchestrate their drafts, you just haven't been watching them. So you need to be ready for their overall strategy and either counteract it or meet it head on. I feel like this is kind of the setup most top teams fall into. And I feel like every time I watch a gaming game, they just keep getting away with it. Some of that is they execute it way better than their opponents. Right, their early game execution is very high. They have very strong laners. It almost always puts them in a position to get there first. But I also feel like sometimes teams just don't pick enough wave clear or 5-on-5 capability to meet these timings head on.
Yeah.
And then you just fall into this position where, like, okay, you have no mid playmaker this game because it got counterpicked, and you have a Skywrath Spearbreaker that can pick off the map, but are terrible in the 5-on-5, so you're never going to contest these early Roshans or the sustain coming out from gaming.
It feels like the Coddle hasn't made up for that enough.
For sure. I mean, I think it's been okay, but there's only so much a Coddle can do.
Of course, he's going to rush a Scythe. Wouldn't be the first time, won't be the last that he goes for an early scythe on this Keeper of the Light. When you have that extra cast range, that item is a lot more potent. His charge is up on Tofu, and he's going to TP out before he gets found.
And he's been obnoxious this game.
Yeah.
This is the Tofu we're used to seeing.
Yeah, he's had some rough ones here or there, and again, Gaming Gladiators really do not look like the same team when he's having an off game. This is Tofu Classic, though, we're getting.
I do go back to that Ace interview before the game, where he's talking about, like, you know, they're obviously trying, but they're not 100% try hard. They won 3-4 tournaments in a row. Like, you do get grinded out of it. You gotta conserve yourself, pace yourself. And by all means, they're not doing bad, right? Like, suddenly they're a garbage team.
Yeah, no.
People just tend to overreact, so.
I mean, I think if they make playoffs, that's a very reasonable success for Gaming Gladiators.
Sure. Like I said, I think they're a team that at this point, everybody, the target is on their back. That's a tough position to be in for an extended period of time. People are going to start to understand more and more how they play, what heroes really work for them as opposed to the ones that look like they do. They know what the hero pools are. They know what the rotations want to look like. Some of that's just going to consistently make your games a little bit harder every time you play somebody. And other teams are going to figure stuff out as the year goes on. Like, we're seeing new threats emerge.
Like what?
LGD.
Yeah.
That Boom is getting their shit together. Nine Pandas
strategy-wise.
Strategy?
Yeah.
We'll have to see. I'm still waiting for someone to kind of break what gaming have set up in a lot of these games, and it doesn't seem like that's ever getting broken. They get outplayed every once in a while, or they have a bad game, but the actual strategic setup is not being really countered. Because again, we're looking at another 25 to 30 minute high ground for them with these Aegises that they do this every game. They build the auras, Ace is there to unlock the other two cores, give them the sustain, Undying, Rubik, two supports that can build the utility and give them the backup they need to go for these early high grounds. They just get away with it every time.
Okay, so your suggestions have been more wave clear, more team fight, generally speaking?
Well, you can go one of two directions. Either you beat them on lanes hard enough that their timings are all off.
Yeah.
Or you build a bit more counteraction in terms of, like, you know, do little things on lanes to get out of it, and then have more wave shove, AoE contest, and aura builder of your own to match Ace. Then these things give you the capability to meet them at the early Roshans, to meet them at the tier 1s, and limit the space that they can gain.
And that's something that Jabs typically will not do for you, right? It's give you an Ace-type offlaner.
And that is the downside in this matchup. I feel like Gaming are just always going to have an aura advantage, and they always push the aura advantage. Like, auras do not win you late game. They win you mid game.
BKB, Mystic Flare, bumped him out of it with another strike. They'll still blast him down, and the Omni Slash will pick up the other support. Now, the cores of Gaming Gladiators are free to run this down now. A lot of abilities have been used, and it's up to Talon just to get as many heroes out as possible. They'll lose 2 for it.
Trade 2 for 2 supports, and 23 gets on the other side of the map because he was finishing up the Rubik with that Omni. Or not the Rubik, the Undying with that Omni Slash. So they'll get to cut some waves here. Not the worst case scenario for Talon, considering they're fighting into the Aegis. They were never going to win an extended fight. They're just trying to stall this game out, take fights outside of their base. They're a bit more favorable.
23 is about to hit a big window here with the Scotty. That'll be pretty nice.
It's going to be tanky. Sanjin, Yasha, plus this Scotty is going to push the Juggernaut to almost 3,000 HP. He's going to be able to stand his ground. Definitely lower damage output than the Manta Butterfly build we've seen. So I don't know how well this scales with that level 20 talent, because your attack speed is way lower, your agi gain's way lower with this.
And also much less likely to be able to burst down the Leshrac or the Bloodseeker.
Sure. I mean, the Scotty effect is nice on them.
Yeah.
But I do feel like having as high a single target physical damage as you can get in this game feels nice too. Quinn will blink into him.
Now, he does not have TP, but Quinn's not going to keep chasing.
Quinn is incredibly tanky right now. Shiva's early on, plus Paladin Sword, buffing up the spell lifesteal on top of Bloodstone with a shield rune. I think this Leshrac is invincible. Talon end up in a fight versus him.
Really nice ward, though.
And that's a Hex on Jabs.
The opening is here. The Force Staff trying to get him away. Telekinesis stops the charge, trying to go for the Nether Strike. Finally
really
gets it
deep.
off. They do have a very deep. They got pulled in really, really badly. Makoto, he's going to have to roll on out of here. 23 is going to do the same with his spin. He does have TP. He's not popping it yet. So he's going to try and walk it back. Gaming Gladiators do not chase, though.
Actually get out with everybody.
Yeah,
I think
surprising.
I think the Rupture got planar pocketed. Because I'm pretty sure he put it on Makoto. Got switched over, and now they're back for round 2, looking for that Omni.
Quinn misses the splitter. 23 pops the spin, closes the distance with Dyrachyo.
There's a
but really
creep
doesn't
wave.
win that man fight, and he doesn't have the Omni Slash. They pop the Glitch to protect the creep wave too, so the Omni Slash
nice
is
heads-up play.
still ineffective.
Yeah, there's just no opening here.
Yeah.
I mean, that almost was a decent setup. If that creep wave doesn't come in, I think you're looking at an Omni Slash. Maybe you take down Bloodseeker. But very, very heads-up play by Gaming to keep it alive, and I do like this reinitiation. We still just haven't seen that Hex come out from Jabs. He's too far.
Yeah.
Even with the caster, imagine there's a Hex on Dyrachyo there. You're looking at a great fight.
I think part of it
Hex
was
Omni.
he used his ult on the early part of the fight
Yes,
or
he
something.
did.
And it since expired on the second go.
But we're seeing some of that fight potential from Talon, even being down as much as they are. And that will be an Ags finished up for Dyrachyo. Does have that Blood Mist.
These Force Staffs, every single time
the
they think
Nether
they have
Strike.
some sort of catch. Oh, the final hit from Celery, actually. The decay. Soul Rip gets him. He does have the Blood Mist. Boy, both these heroes, you close the distance on Leshrac and Bloodseeker, you really are not guaranteed to be doing damage to them. They may just out-heal you.
And the sustain is significant enough they can just punch through these Caudal Blasts. You are not defending these buildings unless you can kill the heroes right now. Still have Omni Slash up for 23. And this Hex for Jabs. He's still looking for the big core targets, but his ult's out. That cast range is gone, and Ace has been blood raged on the Abyssal Underlord.
Swinging hard, swinging fast.
Another perfect game so far for the Ace Underlord here. 0-0-9.
Okay. Pretty much a near flawless game for Gaming Gladiators as a whole.
Yeah, not too many mistakes here. They gave a couple bad pickoffs in random parts of the jungle, but I feel like that happens at every point in their games, and they feel like they just don't care. Like,
Yeah, most
whatever.
of them were supports. It was literally just that one Dyrachyo death.
As long as you don't give up those kills during a time you're trying to take Roshan or something, they don't matter too much for how Gaming play, because they're just farming the entire map anyway. And then when they come together, it's about what happens during that period. That's why I think people tend to criticize like some of these bad core deaths, but I think for them, again, when they split up and farm the map with 5 people, you're probably going to lose somebody. I just think they generally, as a team decision, don't care. Like, whatever. We'll lose somebody, but we're going to gain gold on the map overall. And as long as these deaths don't occur when we want to group up as 5 and push the Roshans or push the base, they're not really hurting our overall game plan. Sometimes you can just make trade-offs like that as a team. Wouldn't surprise me. Also, stolen Nether Strike for Tofu has done work this game, man. How does he keep getting it? I don't understand. Like,
Keeps getting the telekinesis to stop the charge, then steals the Nether Strike. It's
I guess it's kind of a
bit of
guaranteed
problem.
spell unless you save
Oh.
Bulldoze and he starts again.
Another strike onto the Sky Wrath Mage. They're going to try and burst him down. He does manage to get off Mystic Flare, gets away with Glimmer Cape. Quinn chasing after him, always identifying the healing ward. Now the Nether Strike from Q with the charge backwards, but the
They're
heals,
bursting him.
the Bloodstone heals are actually outdoing a lot of
the Tombstone.
And the Tombstone! Grab Ally comes in clutch to be able to bail out Quinn. Now they've certainly run out of
back.
damage. He's back and he's bad, and he is gonna beat down Talon. I'll get a third hero in Jabs here in the corner, and that's just GG. Yep, Talon, call it.
I don't know, man. Like, you're playing against Gaming. You have a billion games on record. You know what they're going to do. You know what they're going to pick. I just feel like Talon are a little unready for it in this game. I would not be playing Skywrath Spearbreaker supports for